And I also hope that you are having an amazing day so far. All right, so for today, we will be doing our grade 8 English lesson on ellipses. So we're doing our grade 8 English lesson on ellipses. And before we start with our grade 8 English lesson on ellipses, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged into aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we are going to select the subject of language arts and then grade 8. Then once we have selected the subject, language arts, grade 8, we scroll down to ellipses, because ellipses is the the topic lesson or the lesson that we are, or lesson, the chapter that we are focusing on today. All right. So we're doing our chapter on ellipses, grade 8. And our lesson that we are doing today is formatting and capitalizing titles, right? So we in our previous lesson, we also did ellipses, but we had to decide whether ellipses are used appropriately, as well as we were formatting titles, whether it's titles of books or movies or stories, right? That was the titles that we were um, formulating or formatting, right? So now for today's lesson, it says we will be formatting and capitalizing the titles. All right, so when it comes to formatting and capitalizing titles, right? Firstly, before we continue, this lesson was, we are basically working from aplusstudents.ca. So if you do want to go back and re-watch or redo the lesson, and then you can go to aplusstudents.ca, the chapter written over there, grade as well as the lesson that we focused on. So formatting and capitalizing titles, right? So in titles, so in a title, we capitalize the first word and the last word. So within the title, we capitalize the first word and we capitalize the last word and every other important word in between. So we capitalize the first word, the last word, and every, if it's an important thing or important words that are in between. That is what we capitalize. For example, the wind in the willow, James and the giant. So the wind in the willow, James and the giant, Peach. So when it comes to, if we look at that sentence even, as much as we capitalize, we capitalize the first word, the last word, right, and every other word in between, Words like in, the, and the, those are words that we don't capitalize those words, especially the, and, and a, right? Those are words that we do not capitalize. So these words are not important in a title, and there we have it. Articles, which is a and n, a and a and the, right? Those are words that are not important in a title. So you do not have to, actually, you shouldn't even capitalize it, especially if it's written within a title. Then we have prepositions, right? Such as at, by, for, in, of, on, to, up. Coordinated conjunctions, a and, but, or. And then the title of a book, movie, play, TV show, magazine, or newspaper should be underlined. So, a title of a book, so if you're giving a book review about a specific book, then it needs to be underlined. And when you are typing, it needs to be in italics. So, underline for typing or writing, and italics for typing only. And then we have an example, right, of a midsummer's night's dream. So, a midsummer's night's dream. And the title of the poem, song, article, or story should be in quotation marks. For example, you are my sunshine. It's in quotation marks. So that is if it's a title of a poem, a song, an article, or short story. Then it should be in quotation marks. So once again, when it comes to formulating and capitalizing titles, right? So in a title, we capitalize the first word, the last word, and every other word that is in between. We do not capitalize a, an, or the. Those articles we do not capitalize when we have it within a title, whether of a book or something. All right. So those words needs to remain lowercase or written in lowercase. And then we had an example of how you capitalize it and also without the capitalizing and the in, for example. Then we have short prepositions, right? So the words that we do not capitalize within either a title, right? With titles or so on, we do not capitalize articles, which is like a and the. We do not capitalize short prepositions such as at, by, for, in, of, on, to, up. And we also do not capitalize coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or. So we do not capitalize that. And especially when it comes to the conjunctions, the conjunctions is basically words that joins, that either joins sentences or joins words, right? So we do not have to put, or let's say we do not have to capitalize it unless one of those words are written, let's say, at the beginning of the title, and then only we capitalize it. All right. So now we're going back to our tutorial lesson, and we are on formatting and capitalizing titles. In our previous lesson, we did about decide what ellipses are used appropriately and formatting titles. So now we're going to formatting and capitalizing titles. All right. And these are basically the words or sentences or the things that we discussed earlier on about what should be capitalized. So remember just once again that we capitalize in a title the first word and the last word and every other word that is important in between. Titles of books, right? A title of a book, a movie, a play, TV show, magazine, or newspaper. That should be underlined. So if you are typing or writing, right, and then it should be underlined. Or it should be in italics if you are typing it only. And then a title of a poem, right? So a title of a poem or a title of a song or article or even a short story, it should be in quotation marks. So title of a poem, song, article, or short story, it should be in quotation marks, right? So poems, songs, articles, and short stories are in quotation marks. Books, movies, play, TV shows, magazines, or newspapers should be underlined if you're typing or writing, or it should be in italics for typing only. All right. So now we're going to say which sentence is correct. He didn't know the words to the poem about the teeth of sharks. So he didn't know the words to the poem about the teeth of sharks. So we now need to say which sentence is correct, right? So when it comes to a poem, we see that a poem should always be in quotation marks, which means that this poem is correct, right? Because this is a poem and it is in quotation marks, which is correct. And we also capitalize the beginning of the word, the last word, as well as teeth that is important. All right. So which sentence is correct? Everyone wants to see the play called Aliens at school. So everyone wants to see the play Aliens at School, the play. So aliens at school is correct, right? When it comes to underline, being underlined. Because we said that a play, a TV show, magazine, newspaper, it should either be underlined or it should be in italics, right? And then also remember we said that when it comes to a title, the first word as well as the last word of that title needs to be capitalized. And if anything is important in between, that should also be capitalized. So that is correct. Which is correct. Seth bought tickets to see the play. Hicks marks the spot. So Seth bought tickets to see the play. Hicks marks the spot. So a play, right? So a play is should be underlined, which means that Hicks marks the spot is correct, right? And also, like we said, the first word as well as the last word and every other important word in between should be capitalized. So that is correct. Let's go next. Which is correct, right? Which sentence is correct? Sing anything but the song. Make new friends but keep the old. Make new friends but keep the old. And this sentence that is in quotation marks is correct because poems, songs, articles, or short stories should be in quotation marks. First word, last word, and every important word in between should be capitalized. Remember words like the articles like a and the, we do not capitalize that. So that is correct. We did this one already. So which sentence is correct? He didn't know the words to the poem about the teeth of sharks. And we said that one is correct because poems should be in quotation marks. First word, last word, every other word in between that's important needs to be capitalized. And everyone wants to see the play called Aliens at School. And Aliens at School being underlined is correct because titles of books, movies, plays, TV shows, magazines, or newspapers should be underlined. All right, so now we're going to do our test. So we're going to begin our test, right? They want to know which sentence is correct. Remember, we said that when it comes to um, titles and formulating titles, um, and then certain things like books and plays needs to be underlined, right? And your poems needs to be in quotation marks, right? So now we need to say which sentence is correct. Let's go see the movie Back to the Future. Back to the Future this afternoon. So if we look at the four options that we have in front of us, right? If we look at the four options that we have in front of us, the first option is let's go see the movie Back to the Future this afternoon, full stop. Back to the Future this afternoon, and that is in quotation marks. Back to the Future this afternoon, only the Back to the Future is quotation marks. And the last one is in italics, Back to the Future this afternoon. So now we need to say which one is correct. So which one do you think is correct? Should it be in quotation marks? Should it be without quotation marks? Should it be in italics? The movie. All right, so if we look at how it's written and also what it's written and also the rule of capitalization in titles, the last option, right? Because it is italics, because they said that a movie is either in italics or it is underlined. So Back to the Future, either italics or it's underlined. Yes, well done. Seth bought tickets to see the play. Hicks marks the spot. Should it be in quotation marks? Hicks marks the spot with no quotation marks, just a full stop. Hicks marks the spot, also nothing. Or underlined, Hicks marks the spot. We need to choose the correct sentence. So if we were to choose one of the options, right? Or let's say the correct options, what would it be? Should a title of a play be in quotation marks, with no quotation marks, or should it be underlined or in italics? This is now a play. All right. So if we choose the correct title, and then we're going to choose it being underlined. So it's either underlined or it is in italics. We need to say which sentence is correct. Sing anything but the song, make new friends but keep the old. Or sing anything but the song, make new friends but keep the old. Or sing anything but the song, make new friends but the old. So the first one is also in quotation marks. The difference is that it has a capital letter T in the, compared to the last one, which is the third one. it's lowercase the. Remember we said articles a and in the should not be capitalized. So we're going with the third option, which is it is in quotation marks. Yes. He didn't know the words to the poem about the teeth of sharks. He didn't know the words of the poem about the teeth of sharks. And if we look at the first option, right, it is just a full stop. No, no, nothing. Then option two, I think we're going with option two because option three is the is capitalized. So we'll go with option two. Yes. Ming played the song If You're Happy and You Know It on the piano. So do we write it without anything, without quotations, without underlines, italics, just a full? Or do we write it with quotation marks, which is option two? Or also, once again, with nothing, no quotation marks, no underlined, no italics. So how should we write happy and you know it? The song. How should songs be written? The titles of songs. So if we choose the correct one, then we will choose the one in, yes, in quotation marks. And then everybody wants to see the play called Aliens at School. So everybody see the play Aliens at School. So a play. How should play be written? Did we say a play should be written without anything, just the capital letters of the title? Should a play be written in quotation marks? Should it be in italics? Should it be underlined? We need to basically know how a play should be written. First one is Aliens at School, no quotation marks, no underlined, no italics, nothing. Or option two, Aliens at School. It's definitely not that because at is capitalized. And remember, we said prepositions, conjunctions, and articles is not important to write with a capital letter. So that needs to still be lowercase. The same with option three is out because at is also written with a capital letter. So we will go with option four, which is aliens at school underlined. All right. So this is us formatting and capitalizing titles, right? We went over capitalizing it because in our previous lesson we had to decide whether ellipses are used appropriately. So part of formatting or going over titles or writing titles, right? We also have newspaper articles, magazines, TV shows, and books, right? So we need to keep in mind that it should be underlined or it should be in italics, right? And then, of course, we said poems, songs, articles, whether it is long articles or short articles and short stories, should be in quotation marks. So if we look at the title of a newspaper, right? A title of a newspaper, which one is so title of a newspaper, it should be underlined. So that is correct. New York Law Journal. So that is correct. Title of a poem. So title of poem should be in quotation marks. So title of poems, songs, articles, or short stories should be in quotation marks. So the poem Mother to Son is correct when it is in quotation marks. Which shows the title of a magazine. A magazine. We say that a magazine should either be in italics or it should be underlined. So it's either in italics or it is underlined. And a magazine, remember we said that with any titles, we write the first word with a capital letter and we write the last word with a capital letter, and all the other words in between that is important. Words like your articles, an, the, your prepositions, as well as your coordinating conjunctions. Those are words that we should not capitalize. That needs to stay lowercase um, whenever we are writing a title. Only the important words of the title needs to be written with a capital letter. All right, let's go next. A Horseman in the Sky. So this is a short story. And short stories needs to be in quotation mark. So that is correct. So it is in quotation mark. We have capitalized the first word. We have capitalized the last word. And another important word is the horseman. We have also capitalized that word. And we said that short stories should be in quotation marks. So short story should be in quotation marks. Then we have articles, right? Articles are your written pieces that gives us more information about certain things, because um, whoever that write these articles would specifically focus on getting to the gist of something, right? It says scientists show Facebook is a downer. So, which shows the title of an article? Remember, we said an article falls under poems and songs. So, which means that articles should be written in quotation marks. Scientists show Facebook is a downer, quotation mark. You Are My Sunshine is a song, quotation mark. Whatever the titles are that they're specifying, they need to write it with a they need to write it with quotation marks. The first word, last word, and every other word in between should be capitalized. And your words, like your conjunctions, prepositions, and articles, should not be capitalized. All right, so that is cool. Great. So, which shows the title of a book? We say the title of a book should be underlined or it should be in italics depending on how it is written or typed. So here we have a title of the book which is Down by the River. And this title of the book, we said we underline it. The first word of the book or the title starts with a capital letter. Last word is capital letter. And if there's any other important words that needs to be capitalized, we do that too, other than prepositions, coordinating contractions, as well as articles. All right, let's do a test. Which shows the title of a movie? We need to show the title of a movie. Is it Alone in the Woods, which is in quotation marks, or should it be underlined Alone in the Woods? So should it be in quotation marks or should it be underlined? This is now a title of a movie. What do you think? Titles of movies. Do we underline it? I put it in italics or quotation marks. So we said that when it comes to a title of a movie, then depending on how it is written, right? Depending on how it is written, it's either in, we need to underline it, right? We said poems, songs, articles, we put in quotation marks. So we underline the titles of a movie. Which shows the title of a poem, just mother to son, or quotation marks, mother to son. We need to choose the title of a poem or the correct title of the poem. Let's put it like that. The correct title of the poem. Do we write it without quotation marks or do we write it with quotation marks? This is now a poem. And the title of a poem we write with quotation marks. So we're going to choose option 2 with quotation marks. All right. Which correctly shows the title of a magazine? A magazine. Is it Oceans of Mind with nothing? Oceans of Mind, which is in quotation marks or underlined? A magazine, which shows the title of a magazine. Is it option 1, just so, nothing, no quotation mark, no underline? Or option 2 with quotation marks? Or option 3, which is underlined or in italics? All right, so the title of a magazine, let's say option 2. Oh, so title of a magazine is underlined, the same as a title of a book. Which correctly shows the title of a song? This is the last one. Is it Any Dream Will Do with no quotation marks or Any Dream Will Do with quotation marks? This is the title of a song. And if we choose the title of a song, we will choose option 2 with quotation marks. And a short story, is it option 1 in quotation marks, which is a horseman in the sky, or up 2 with no quotation marks, a horseman in the sky? All right, so if we choose our short story, we are going to choose option 1. A title of a book. A title of a book. Is it option 1, which is down by the river with no quotation mark, no underline, no italics, or option 2 with quotation marks, or option 3 where we underline the title of the book? Title of a book. So when it comes to a title of a book and writing a title of a book, right? Firstly, we do have to write the first word with a capital letter, the last word with a capital letter, and every other important word in between with capital letters. But we do not write, we do not capitalize prepositions, coordinating conjunctions, as well as articles, which is a and in the. So if we choose the title of a book, let's choose option 3. Yes. All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on ellipses, was chapter on, and our main lesson was actually formatting and capitalizing titles, right? But we will formatting titles again. Thank you very much for joining the class, grade 8s. I really hope that you're going to have an amazing day or amazing evening further. Goodbye.